5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Thursday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us. A Thursday that finds us reacting to another Jaguar scrimmage, a physical practice, a hot practice down there at the Miller Electric Center earlier today. I took it in, was there, got some thoughts, certainly. My Jaguar training camp one-on-one is with Jaguar offensive lineman Ezra Cleveland. I got a chance to catch up with Ezra after practice today, so you will hear that conversation coming up in about 15 minutes, a little less here on Hacker After Dark. Also, the rest of the guest lineup looks like this. Travis Holmes, the host of the Duval Dive podcast, and you also catch his work over there at Big Cat Country. We'll talk to Travis about training camp and his thoughts on how things are going with the Jacksonville Jaguars. We will also go out to New Orleans later on in the program. Fletcher Mackel is my guy out in New Orleans, sports director of the NBC TV affiliate out there on the Bayou. And we'll get the Saints' perspective of this matchup on Sunday between Jacksonville and New Orleans. We'll also give you one opportunity tonight to get into the Hacker Fantasy League draft. The draft is 1 week from tonight. Twin Peaks at Atlantic and Kernan. Spots are becoming scarce, but we'll have one opportunity for you to get in tonight. If you think you're the best fantasy football player that listens to 1010XL, be listening. Your opportunity to join the HFL will come up here at some point in the 8 o'clock hour. A ton to do with you till 10 o'clock. Glad, Jacksonville, that you are with us. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night. And Dylan Denmark, let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
All right, so the second scrimmage, and it's interesting when you have so many head coaches in such a short amount of time, how different guys do different things. I truly started going down there on a pretty regular basis towards the end of Del Rio through Gus Bradley, or I guess Mike Mularkey, and then Gus Bradley. And then obviously Doug Marrone, Urban, Doug Peterson, and now Liam Cohen. And Liam Cohen is the first guy, to my memory, that has had two scrimmages during training camp. We always have the in-stadium scrimmage, which the Jaguars had 13 days ago, and they had a scrimmage today. And I'm sitting here thinking, all right, how physical is this thing going to be? Maybe it wasn't as physical as the in-stadium scrimmage, but there was some thumping going on out there. There was some hitting in a full padded environment. You had benches on both sides, defense on one side, offense on the other, like a game-style environment. It was competitive out there, no question about it. Boy, was it hot. Maybe one of the hottest days we've had in camp. And I have thoughts, all right? That's the benefit of doing a daily radio show every night on the home of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is when I'm sitting there at the Miller Electric Center, I'm just simply gathering my thoughts. And because of where I am in the time slot at 8 o'clock at night, I have basically all day to construct and reconfigure my thoughts. I've never been one to be uber positive Jaguar guy over the years. I think you probably know that if you've listened to me for any period of time. There was a time when I got criticized for probably being too negative. I think I've grown from that. I've matured from that. I've just simply gotten older and a little wiser about things. And I think that has no longer been the case now for a year or two at least. Probably since I got my own show, to be honest, is when I started getting out of maybe the uber negative aspect of things. But I still think that I keep it real with you. I like to give you exactly how I'm feeling. And based on what I saw today, yeah, I'm probably a little more concerned about the Jaguar offense than I was yesterday. And it has nothing to do with the talent on the field. I still think they have a lot of skill position talent. They got a lot of speed. I think they got a really good quarterback. I think there's some really good pieces of the offense. My problem is twofold, and it's simple. It's two of the most simplest parts of football. Football can be complex. Football can be hard, the X's and O's, to understand all the dynamics of it. But these two things that I'm concerned about are maybe two of the easiest things. Stop doing stupid penalties and catch the football. It's that simple. Stop doing stupid things, committing stupid penalties, and simply catch the football. And on Saturday against Pittsburgh, we saw numerous drops and numerous penalties. Leading up to the Pittsburgh game, Liam Cohen singled out penalties as a problem right now that he wanted to see corrected. And he said, well, yeah, it's correctable. And then we get into Saturday against Pittsburgh, more penalties. And the guys come out and say, yeah, self-inflicted wounds, they're correctable. Well, today was the worst of them all. Maybe the most penalized day in all of camp. And again, after practice, we hear that it's correctable. We hear the term self-inflicted wounds. We're going to watch the tape and we're going to clean it up. Okay. And I believe them. But my concern is, at some point, if things are as correctable as we're being led to believe, they would be corrected, right? At some point, you can only say the word correctable so many times, and when the same stuff keeps happening, well, then you say, wait a minute. If it's as easy to correct as we're being told, why is it not being corrected? The false starts, man. Good grief. The illegal formations, just juvenile stuff when it comes to the NFL. And just catching the football, right? I mean, how many drops were there against Pittsburgh? And today, now, albeit the defense was going to make some of the catches tough, but come on, man. If you get two hands on the football, I don't care where the defender is. You got to catch the ball. Look, Jacksonville, the Jaguars can be a good team, can be a competitive team. But let's not kid ourselves, guys, gals, Jaguar fans. For Jacksonville to be good in 2025, they have to play more perfect than a lot of other teams in the league. And what do I mean by that? You got to knock out the stupid penalties. That needs to end now. You got to do the simple things, right? It's going to be hard enough to win with this roster, which is not as good as numerous other teams in their own conference. I mean, where are the Jaguars in the AFC if you just go based on the roster? Well, they're behind Kansas City, right? They're behind Buffalo. They're behind Baltimore. Probably behind Houston, roster-wise. Probably behind Denver, right? And then you can start having conversations about, they're behind Cincinnati, roster-wise. I don't think I'm going to have any argument from you guys on that. I just rattled off half the conference without even thinking about it. That the Jaguars, on paper, don't have as good a roster as these other teams. So when you're in that situation, you got to do the little things to perfection. You got to catch the ball. You can't commit stupid penalties. Good grief, man. I mean, it was noticeable today. It was noticeable on Saturday during the Pittsburgh game. And just like after Saturday, when we were told it was correctable, well, 5 days later, we're being, again, told it's correctable. All right. I hear you, and I believe you. But what happens if you go to New Orleans and the same thing happens on Sunday? At a certain point, you can only use the term correctable so often until you actually have to correct it. And the Jaguars have 24 days until the regular season opener to correct some of the most simplest things imaginable when it comes to the National Football League. I thought the defense had a pretty good day. I thought the defense played well. We'll react to more of the scrimmage. My Jaguar training camp one-on-one comes with a guy that I think has had a very good camp, has earned a starting spot, when a lot of people, including myself, weren't too sure about Ezra Cleveland, right? When they drafted Wyatt Milum, they brought in all these other guys. Oh, Ezra will be benched, or maybe they'll trade him, right? A lot of talk about that. No. Ezra Cleveland's the starter at left guard. He's earned that spot. And we'll have that conversation with him next here on Hacker After Dark. It is a rainy, really rainy Thursday evening. Be careful out there if you're on the roadways, particularly in the south side of town. I can hear it just beating down on the 1010XL roof. If you want to get in the HFL draft, we'll have an opportunity for you as well coming up in just a bit. A lot to do. With you till 10 o'clock. We're correctable, right? We make mistakes one night. We usually correct them the next. It's what we do here on Hacker After Dark. And we're glad you're listening. It's 1010XL and it's 92.5 FM.
He's entered. Open the door to the Jags locker room to bring you exclusive insights and interviews on 1010XL.
This just in.
In the locker room with Hayes Carlyon. Unlocked by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Summer means fun in all forms. Longer days and more chances to soak up the sun and the fun. Budweiser and Bud Light reminding you to drink wiser. Hydrate between beers and don't sweat it. It's the best way to get home safely.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On August 14, 2016, Jamaican superstar Usain Bolt wins his third gold in the 100 meters, the first man to win the event 3 times.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental. With light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, 2 locations in Jacksonville.
They were right. It could have waited. I can't believe it happened to me. Reaching to check my phone. Now my family has to hear that I'm never coming home again.
Officer?
I'm so sorry. I have some very sad news to share with you.
Every day, 9 people on Florida roadways don't make it home. I was one of the people that didn't make it home.
Ride with Do Not Disturb. Every trip, every time. Let's get everyone home safely. A message from Florida Department of Transportation, Target Zero. For more information, visit targetzerofl.com.
Hey, Jacksonville, it's Dan Hicken with a game changer. I've tested the field, and Checkmate Coatings is my new go-to for durable, jaw-dropping floor coatings. Better play, better results. I'm Brendan from Checkmate Coatings. Our precision coatings make your floors the MVP of any space. Slam dunk your floors at checkmatecoatings.com. Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Yo, E.T. here, and I need you to beat the heat this summer with cool escapes and non-stop fun in Clay County. Tackle indoor adventures head on. Throw axes at Live by Axe or smash your stress away at Just Smash That. Then kick back with drinks, good food, and fandom vibes at Nakama Anime Bar or Leaderboard Arcade and Bar. Whether you're blowing off steam or just looking to chill, Clay County got your perfect indoor getaway. Find your pool at exploreclay.com. That's exploreclay.com.
Denny Thompson here. Look, don't get left in the dark. We're all trying to reason with hurricane season, so at least be prepared. For top-of-the-line generators in Jacksonville, I turn to Tyson. Licensed pros at Tyson deliver reliable, whole-home standby generators and provide fast repair service. They even do custom installations for local businesses, so don't wait. Ensure seamless installation and peace of mind. Call Tyson now, 904-762-1000 for a free estimate on generator services. TysonInc.com.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. As temperatures warm up around us, ants come out in droves. And when they move into your home or business, it's unnerving. Terminix knows that ants add up fast. But Terminix subtracts them faster because living with ants isn't any fun. When ants show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with an ant problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Glad you're with us till 10 o'clock. 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Travis Holmes, Big Cat Country. Also the host of the Duval Dive podcast. He joins me coming up here in less than 20 minutes. My Jaguar training camp one-on-one with Jaguar offensive lineman Ezra Cleveland is also less than 2 minutes away. Right now, it's all about if you think you're the best fantasy football player that listens to 1010XL. The HFL draft is 1 week from tonight, Thursday, August the 21st, a 16-team league, Twin Peaks at Atlantic and Kernan is the location. I ask you two things, and two things only, for you to be in the Hacker Fantasy League. Number one, be able to be there on Thursday night, August the 21st. That's important. You actually have to be at the draft to be in the league. And number two, bring some folks with you. Everybody will have a table. You'll have chairs. Don't be the guy sitting there by yourself. Bring the family, bring the kids, bring the buddies, nights out, whatever. Just bring some folks with you. We would certainly appreciate it. We want it to be a festive atmosphere. If you can do that, if you can meet those two criteria, well, if you want to be in a 16-team league to prove you're the best fantasy football player that listens to 1010XL, now's your opportunity right now. Caller 4-641-1010. That's 641-1010. And Dylan Denmark will hook you up with one of the 16 coveted spots for the 2025 Hacker Fantasy League. Again, the draft next Thursday night, Twin Peaks at Atlantic and Kernan. Now, my Jaguar one-on-one conversation from earlier today, post-scrimmage at the Miller Electric Center with Jaguar offensive lineman Ezra Cleveland.
Now, Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors takes you in the locker room.
Jaguars wrapping up practice at the Miller Electric Center, getting ready for the Saints on Sunday. We got Jaguar offensive lineman Ezra Cleveland here on 1010XL. Ezra, how'd it go out there today?
It was a steamy one. Iron sharpens iron. We were competing on both sides of the ball. Offense needs to be better, but at the end of the day, we all got better, so went good.
Second scrimmage for the team, obviously a very physical one. This whole week's been physical. Talk about the physicality out there.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to harp on physicality, so each day when we come out here in pads, there's a limited amount of reps we can get with shoulder pads on, so I think the team does a good job at, harnessing that energy and coming out here when we need to and, being physical like you're saying, and it's looking and feeling good, so.
There was a lot of talk when all the new offensive linemen came in, the free agents, the draft class, about you, about Walker, about Anton, and it looks like all three of you guys have really stepped up to that challenge, particularly you. Do you feel like you've had a good camp to this point?
Yeah, I mean, I just come in with my head down each day and try to, work on stuff that the coaches give me, and just try to get closer and closer with the new alignment, like you're saying, and get closer and closer with the guys that have been here. O-line, I feel like the closer you are with the guys, the better you play. And I think Rob, Pat, Walker, Anton, every guy in the room has done a good job at that, and I'm excited for the season and to keep getting to know those guys and just building our continuity.
You being a veteran in this league, we talk about cohesiveness, continuity, knowing what the guy next to you is going to do. Have you guys been able to start working that out with all the new guys that have arrived in that O-line room?
Yeah, for sure. And, I think everyone in there gets along pretty well. There's not, a single bad guy in the room. I'm sure a lot of people in the NFL would say that, just about the rooms in general. But, no, everyone gets along. We hang out outside the facility. Camp's a little different because you're kind of stuck in the facility all the time. But during OTAs and, the break that we had, texting, hanging out, and just building that continuity, like you said. It's a good group of guys. I'm excited to work with them this year.
Final moments with Jaguar offensive lineman Ezra Cleveland. Preseason week 1 to preseason week 2. What do you hope to accomplish Sunday in New Orleans?
Yeah, preseason week 1, we had a good drive going, shot ourselves in the foot, me included, the blocking back. Clean football, get down there, score a touchdown. Touchdown would be nice. We came up short with the field goal last week against the Steelers, but touchdown would be nice, and just cohesiveness and, operation and just being crisp and smooth.
Ezra, for the casual fan, when they see what Liam and Grant bring to the offense this year compared to what Doug and Press were doing here last year, will it be obvious the difference in the plays and how it'll look on the field when the fans watch on Sundays?
I'm going to be completely honest. I'm a left guard. I just get in the huddle and run the play that's called. That's a different it's a different tier above me. So I just do what I'm told, and whatever plays call, I try to execute to the best of my ability. And when we get in the end zone, go celebrate and have fun.
As we wrap up, a lot of speed on this offense. Can you guys sense that when you're out there with Diami, BTJ, Travis, Hunter, and Etienne?
Yeah, speed's for sure there. I'm not really watching the ball that much, but I know those guys get open and catch the ball and do great stuff when they get the ball. So I'm excited for, when we get into the game this preseason, when we get into the regular season.
Final question, what have been your thoughts on Liam, Grant, the new offensive staff?
Yeah, I think they've been great. I was with Grant in Minnesota a little bit before he was an OC, and I loved everything he did in Minnesota, and he's brought it here to Jacksonville, and it's great to see him, flourish and do great. And then Liam and all the other staff, getting to know them a lot. They're young, fun people to hang out with and talk to you about football and, all that stuff. And it's going to be a fun year.
Ezra Cleveland, best of luck on Sunday in New Orleans.
Thank you very much.
There you go, Ezra Cleveland with us here on Hacker After Dark. And as always, thank you to the great Jaguar PR staff for always hooking us up with these one-on-one conversations after every training camp practice. I appreciated his answer when I asked him about the offense and will it look different this year with Liam Cohen, Grant Udinski, compared to what we had last year with Doug Peterson and Press Taylor. And the reason I ask that is I've been asked by a lot of Jaguar fans that same question. Will it be noticeable when we watch on Sundays the offense looking different because of the guys, calling the plays? And I've heard that from enough people. So then I asked, the Jaguar players that. And I don't think Ezra blew the question off. I kind of appreciated the answer. He said, look, I'm a left guard. Right? I do what I'm told, the call in the huddle. That's what I do. A typical offensive line answer. But Denmark, to me, and again, I was not singing the praises of Ezra Cleveland, 3 weeks ago. Goodness knows, when they drafted Wyatt Milum and they bring in Idoga and Johnson and all Hainsey and Makari and Monheim and all these guys, who was the guy that was probably getting talked about the most losing his job? It was probably Ezra Cleveland throughout most of the offseason. People had basically given that spot to Wyatt Milum, the third-round pick out of West Virginia. Current company included. Again, I'm not going to throw stones in a glass house. I was probably on the Wyatt Milum train as well. You know what Ezra Cleveland did? He just went to work every day. And it sounds cliche and maybe it's boring, but Ezra Cleveland just went to work every day and got better. And I'll tell you this, on the Jaguar depth chart, the word or, there's a lot of ors. It's this guy or it's that guy. It's player A or it's player B who's going to be the starter. There's not an or at a left guard. The starting left guard on the first two Jaguar depth charts has been Ezra Cleveland. And I think that probably would have caught people off guard, as recently as 3 weeks ago. So we'll see. But Ezra Cleveland, a terrific job on the offensive line. Like I told Ballou as well, and I get it. You're working out things. You want to build depth. You want guys that are versatile at guard and tackle or center and guard. Yes, I very, very good. No problem with that up until a certain point. 24 days until the Carolina Panthers roll in here. All right. Do you realize cut down day in the NFL? Cuts will start coming into Jacksonville 10 days from now. The official cut down day is in 12 days. I believe it's Tuesday the 25th is when teams have to get down to 53. So it was, or maybe Tuesday, is it the 26th? I think it's the 26th. So Tuesday the 26th. So we're talking 12 days. And the Jaguars will have to go from 90 to 53. 24 days until the season opener. At what point do you want to get a 5 on the offensive line and start working with them as a cohesive starting unit? Stop doing this guy at right tackle this series, and then he's going to be a left guard the next series, or this guy's the center now, and he's going to be the left guard the next series. I like the versatility of a lot of the offensive linemen. I actually do think that's a good thing up until a point. But I think we're getting dangerously close to that point 3 weeks out from the opener that you got to pick out your 5 on the offensive line, and you got to go with it. Because you got to build that chemistry, that cohesiveness, knowing what the man next to you is going to do. Because this team is only going to go as far as Trevor Lawrence goes. If Trevor Lawrence gets hurt, the season's over. I hate to tell you that, but if Trevor Lawrence goes down, the season's done. And you can say that for most NFL teams. For most NFL teams, if they lose their starting quarterback, they're done. I think that applies here in Jacksonville. So you need a 5-some on the offensive line that you feel good about, that you feel comfortable about. And at this point, on August the 14th, I really hope the Jaguars find those 5 guys they want to go to battle with on the O-line and start putting them there every time with the starting offense to start building that rapport and that chemistry with one another. Thank you to Ezra Cleveland. He will be one of those 5. He will be your starting left guard on opening day against Carolina. A lot more to do when it comes to the Jaguars, including my buddy Travis Holmes. You hear him on the Duval Dive podcast. You read his work over there at Big Cat Country. Let's talk Jaguar training camp. Let's look back on the Pittsburgh game. Let's briefly look ahead to New Orleans on Sunday. Travis Holmes of Big Cat Country joins me next right here on Hacker After Dark.
Jaguars football is officially back. Be there as number 2 overall draft pick Travis Hunter, quarterback Trevor Lawrence, and new head coach Liam Cohen take the field for the first time during the 2025 NFL regular season. Secure your seats for when the Jaguars take on the Panthers September 7th by going to jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We'll see you at the bank.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, Jason, got a minute?
Always. What's on your mind?
This time of year, my air conditioner is running non-stop. Hot all day, hot all night. It has to run constantly just to keep up.
Well, that's what they do.
But if something happens to it in the middle of a 2-week heat wave, I'm in trouble, Jason. I can't wait 3 days or 2 days or even the next day for service. If you can't get someone here today, I'm sweating by tonight. What if it breaks, Jason?
You call me, pal. That's what we do. Bueller Air and Plumbing.
But you're probably swamped with calls from everyone else's AC that ran nonstop and then broke in a heat wave, so they called you because that's what you do.
But we always have room for an emergency. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, we have techs standing by because we know these things happen.
So I don't need to worry. Wow. That time you calmed me down without even using the sunglasses.
Oh, I was reaching for them.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
I know you love sports, so why not take that passion and make a difference in your community as a volunteer coach with the YMCA? Whether it's soccer, basketball, volleyball, or flag football, the Y is always looking for positive role models to help kids grow in both skills and character. Even if you've got no coaching experience, that's fine. We'll provide the training. Step up, give back, and be the coach that makes a difference. To volunteer, visit your local Y or fcymca.org.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple years ago. Went smooth as silk. Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. Was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Brian Wall here. Would you take your paycheck, go to the bank, cash it, and then simply throw it up in the air? I didn't think so. But in a way, over the years, that is exactly what you're doing if you have old or builder-grade windows in your home. Even if you have a brand new home, those windows are not the best windows you can have to save on your energy bills. Window World has sold millions of replacement windows to homeowners like you, and Window World's customer satisfaction is the highest in the business. Please check Window World out yourself and save on your new windows and on your energy bills. Compare with other companies and you'll see Window World is simply the best for less. It's up to you. You can call Window World and get a free estimate, get the best guarantee in the window replacement business, save money on your new windows, and save more on your energy bills. Call Window World today at 904-443-7001 or go online to windowworldneflorida.com. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors. Leonard Skinner is coming home, and they're bringing the Stars and Stripes. Celebrate Southern rock and American pride with Leonard Skinner Rocks the Red, White, and Blue. It's a special night to support St. Michael's soldiers and the brave men and women of our armed forces.
Singing songs about Southland.
Saturday, November 8th at Daly's Place. Tickets on sale now, only at Ticketmaster. Daly'sPlace.com for details. Be there when Skinner rocks for those who serve.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Saints, Sunday at 1 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. Preseason week number 2. The Jaguars coming off preseason week number 1, where there was some good. There was also some not so good. They've been back out on the practice field this week. Let's talk about all of it with Travis Holmes. He is the host of the Duval Dive podcast. You also read his terrific work over there at Big Cat Country. And Travis is always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark. Travis, how we doing?
Hey, I'm living the dream, brother. This is a great time.
Travis, appreciate the time as always. All right, let's dive right in. From a mile-high view, your biggest takeaways, your overview of last Saturday night against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, the Jaguars' offense, they looked reasonably, they looked reasonably sharp. I don't want to say that everything was perfect or anything along those lines. You were playing against a Pittsburgh Steelers team that has 23 guys not playing, including their top, linebacker, defensive line, cornerbacks, etc. But overall, you expected them to play well against those guys, and they did. But Coach Cohen already acknowledged it in his post-game media availability. Hey, the theme of the night was the penalties. It was the miscues, was the drop passes, etc. Putting your guys behind the sticks. That was, from a high-level view, that's something that I knew going into the game from the things that we've seen in training camp practices and such, that we knew they had to get figured out. Hey, stop dropping passes, actually getting the guys lined up and things of that nature. And they put themselves behind the sticks on first down on the first play of the game. Anton Harrison. Also, Coach Cohen seemed to indicate that Trevor Lawrence was at the line a little bit longer than he would have expected him to be. Maybe that's what got Anton a little bit antsy. But nevertheless, you have a false start on the first play of the game. You then have a penalty later blocking the back, which honestly was a bad call by the refs. I'm going to be honest and say that. But there was 2 penalties on the play in either case. Like, you can't get into first and long situations and then expect to be able to get points. And they didn't. They got a field goal out of that drive instead of a touchdown. So it's an ongoing issue of them trying to get these things cleaned up earlier in this offseason before these games are truly live. But my biggest takeaway is miscues. Got to figure out ways to catch the ball. I believe they had 4 drops in the game, and you got to figure out ways to get these guys lined up and stop committing penalties, shooting yourself on the foot.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I thought offensively, Travis, I like the play calling. I like the 4th and 1 end around to De'Ami Brown. I thought Trevor looked sharp, 6 of 7. I mean, from a fundamental standpoint, you know, you look at what they did yardage-wise, the plays that were called, things along those lines, I was very positive about. The drops were obviously an issue, and the penalties were obviously an issue. And as Liam Cohen said, those self-inflicted wounds, and I love his saying, we cannot beat anybody else until we stop beating ourselves.
Yeah, that is absolutely it. And I did want to acknowledge, like, I've talked to a lot of people in the Duval County, fan base, the Duval Devout. And a lot of people are like, well, how do you keep saying Trevor Lawrence had a great day and it was such a great passing game? They're just doing, they're nickel and diming. They're just taking 3 yards to 5 yards throw. And I'm like, well, yeah. Well, what was Doug Peterson's offense in 2023 and 2024? It was everything long. His average, yard per target was like insane. And normally the farther you're throwing the ball down the field, the harder it is going to be to stay on the field on those earlier downs, the harder it is going to be to kind of move this team down the field. Trevor Lawrence is solid. He's good at deep ball passing. What he hasn't been the greatest at is just getting the ball out early in these routes, slants, the stops, the quick outs, things of that nature, moving the team down the field without making an error or having an error take place on the receiving side of it. So they're being able to show that, to me, that gives me good confidence on that side of the line, because if you can show you can move the team down the field and you can achieve those results, I think the deep ball and all of those things will come because they've shown us that ability in past years.
Travis Holmes is the host of the Duval Dive podcast. You also read his work at Big Cat Country. Travis is always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Travis, from a defensive standpoint, I thought the run defense was pretty good. Pittsburgh only got 2.6 yards per carry. I thought the pass defense was horrendous. Now, was it a vanilla defensive scheme? Were they not tipping their hand? Yeah, that's all plausible, if not possible. But clearly, Liam Cohen wasn't exactly happy when he's wondering why his defense is playing 10 yards off the ball on a 3rd and 2 situation. I mean, you almost think he was calling some people out there. It was kind of an interesting thought from the first-year head coach. What did you make of the defense as a whole last Saturday?
Man, if you're talking about the starting unit, you're talking about the first team, I don't think there's many positives to take away from it. Yes, you can make the argument that they played well against the run, and I would even argue that assertion, just to be honest with you. I had the Big Cat Country, the Big Cat Country rewatch, and 2,300 words without even talking about EPA data and all of that stuff, just on the film. And looking at it, I thought the run, the ability to stop the run was questionable. I mean, you had the 3rd and 4 run by Caleb Johnson, where you have Devin Lloyd swimming to avoid the contact of the blocker who's coming right at him. He swims in the opposite direction away from the run. You have Tyson Campbell, who misses the tackle on the same play. They pick up the first down. Like, the fact of the matter is they only ran twice against the first team defense. So to say you did well against them is technically true, but also, well, technically not. I mean, you have 2 quarterbacks that had over 100 quarterback rating, including 2 backup quarterbacks. Well, yeah, maybe they didn't feel the need to run because they were dominating in the passing game. But overall, whether or not you say they did well or didn't in the run game, in the passing game, you got to do better than that. We spoke to Coach Campanelli after Tuesday's practice, where he acknowledged that on the touchdown play, there seemed to be a missed assignment on the play. If you believe the coverage was one of those 3 deep coverages, then you have have to ask the question, where was the safety? He seemed to be on the opposite hash of where he should have been lined up. And that results in a touchdown that looks like it's Tyson Campbell's fault. That may not necessarily have been. But then in addition, you have a whole series where Tyson Campbell seems to be targeted on 3 of the passes, including the opening pass of the game where, they're getting 20 yards down the field. And if that's how you start the game, then you're going to have a long day against a backup quarterback. And, again, 23 guys not playing for the Steelers. So we've established. I was honestly worried when that was that easy against the Jaguars starting defense against some, amazing, a lot of backups for the Steelers. And you have Tyson Campbell with 3 catches given up and a missed tackle on 3rd down. That should have been a tackle for a loss that resulted in the 1st down. You got to be better. And I don't know how they're going to fix that part. Like, you just got to wake up on the better side of the bed and just come ready to play.
Travis, as we begin to wrap up, from whether the game last week, what you've seen in practice this week, your expectations going into Sunday against New Orleans, any individual guys that you want to single out in a positive way for what's gone on in the last week or so?
Oh, well, I mean, I think everyone's going crazy about Parker Washington after the performances that he's done throughout practice over the past 2 weeks. He's had 3 or 4, if not 4, at least 3 days where it's just like, oh my gosh, like if this dude can do this on Sundays, this is going to be amazing. Like, he should be able to push for that wide receiver 3 spot. One-handed catches and one-on-ones, crazy falling catches, also one-hander in the team's period with Jarian Jones with moderately good coverage. Like, he's doing it all. So I would love to see them actually be able to use him down the field. We saw him get his 5 targets, 3 receptions in Saturday's game, but then they're all for like 1 yard. So I would just like to see what we see in training camp actually materialize on the field as far as Washington is concerned. And I also wanted to see more of Jonah Monheim and Milam, just to see if those guys are actually going to be able to push, Edoga, to push Makari, to push all those guys for a potential starting role to make this thing a real competition, because they seem to play pretty well on the tape this past, Saturday. Now you just have to question, is that a fluke? Is that just playing against backups over here? And you still need a little bit more evolution as far as your game is concerned. Is that real or is it fake? I would love to see a little bit more film to just kind of confirm that. So I'm looking at those run blockers and seeing how they're going to perform. And I'm looking at Parker Washington and guys like that to see if they're going to be able to kind of rise to the occasion and be used a little bit differently.
I know the analytics guys, they loved what Monheim did last week against Pittsburgh, and he'll be certainly somebody to watch this Sunday against New Orleans. We don't know how long the starters are going to go, but one would think they might not go very much with how physical practice was this week. Travis, final question. If there is a veteran maybe now that might be in trouble for the 53 that maybe you didn't think was in trouble a couple of weeks ago, I'll give you one. I think Daniel Thomas is in a little more trouble than I probably thought he was a couple of weeks ago based on how Rayon Lane played on special teams last week. What's your thought on a veteran that may be in trouble right now?
Ooh, that's interesting. So Daniel Thomas, because it really does, there's so many pieces, there's so many moving pieces with how this could work. So if you end up in a situation where Andrew Wingard ends up being your true starting safety opposite of Eric Murray, all of a sudden that feels like he may be playing a little bit less special teams. Maybe they may want then Daniel Thomas to continue filling that role and just have Ray Lane end up filling that Andrew Wingard role. So it really does come down to how they feel about Caleb Ransall and his injury situation, since he's obviously been out for much of camp with his lower body injury. So at this point, we're just kind of seeing where they're going to go with Caleb. But assuming Caleb's here, I think you're 100% correct. I just don't know exactly what's going on there to speak on it. So nevertheless, if Dewey is your starting safety, and right now I think he's been one of the better candidates back there opposite of Eric Murray. So then, yeah, I think that will be a moderately solid situation for Daniel Thomas because of likely keeping, 4 to 5 guys back there in that safety room. But if you're not talking about a guy like that, then I have questions on how this whole Smoot, Doga, the backup edge guys are going to work. Like, are you going to keep 5 of those guys overall? Are you going to keep 4? So you obviously have Travon Walker. You have Josh Hines Allen. And then you have Adoga, who I think has been playing very well, and Smoot had a sack on Saturday. But I don't know if one of those other guys are going to kind of step up and push him, because we've seen him in his 2022 season. It was up top of the world. In Buffalo, he was kind of still recovering. And this was kind of in his first season that we kind of expected him to truly bounce back, and he's shown some promise there. So I'm just curious if that's real or if it's not. And I just want to see more of it to kind of figure that out. But I'm just real interested in like whether or not Smoot's going to be a guy who actually makes his final roster, or if he's going to be a guy to truly, I guess, be one of those final cuts. And I don't know where that kind of lands yet.
Travis, tell the Jaguar fans listening tonight about the Duval Dive podcast, also your work on Big Cat Country. Where can they find you?
Well, of course, you can find me on all the socials, Travis D. Holmes. And when we're having these training camp practices, we'll give you guys the play-by-play updates that we're allowed to as far as the team's peers are concerned, whether it's on Blue Sky or on Twitter. But most importantly, you can follow my work covering the Jaguars at BigCatCountry.com. We do play breakdowns. We do the rewatch articles that gives you a lot of things that you may have missed on first watch. But also, any of the summaries, the press conferences and post-practice, post-game, etc. And follow us on the Duval Dive podcast, where we talk about everything Jacksonville Jaguars related. Myself and Kyle, the student of the game, Nash, which 3 podcasts per week. And you can follow us on YouTube or wherever you catch your podcast with the Believe Network.
Travis Holmes. Travis, I know you're busy. Appreciate the time. I'll see you out there at practice at the Millward Electric Center.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
The race is on.
Closing the gap.
Saturday at Richmond.
Fighting for every point.
NASCAR is tuned up by Maxie's Mechanics on Jacksonville's high-performance NASCAR station, 1010 XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Hey, school's in session, and here's today's lesson. We have hundreds of certified vehicles to choose from, starting as low as $89.99. Plus, they come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile peace of mind warranty and free oil changes. That means you and your soon-to-be drivers will be protected. Plus, every purchase allows us to fund teachers' projects for the entire school year. Your next assignment, get to Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine, Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville, or Beaver Mitsubishi in St. Augustine. We're here to wow you and our teachers.
If your house feels like a Florida swamp and your thermostat's just throwing out suggestions, then it's time to call Duck Duck Air Conditioning.
They showed up fast, fixed it right, and even cleaned up after. My house is finally chilled, and so am I.
Whether your AC needs a quick fix, a full replacement, or just a little TLC, Duck Duck Air Conditioning has got you covered with fast and honest service. Call 904-862-6769 to get your cool back, or online at duckduckac.com. When your AC is stuck, call the Duck.
Get the real story from people who know the beautiful game best. The Coaches Show, presented by Sporting Jacks with Cole Pepper, Sporting Jacks head of soccer Mark Warburton, and Sporting Jacks women's coach Stacey Ballum. Tuesday nights at 6
on 1010 AM.
4 guys, want a golf course fairway quality lawn? TopDressing.com just landed in Jacksonville with the golf course secret for St. Augustine grass homeowners. A patented process that aerates and turns your turf into a fairway stunner. Serious golf course technology, but in your yard. Less water, tighter cuts, total neighborhood domination. No one else scores a perfect 10 lawn. Hit TopDressing.com now. You will own the block. Top dress your yard like the pros with TopDressing.com.
Is your backyard ready for the big leagues? Pick it here for Surfside Pools. Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, they have the home field advantage. Family owned and operated, offering weekly pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools make your backyard dreams a reality. Are you ready to float happy? Visit surfsidepools.net or call 904-246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, your hometown MVP.
License number CPC 044080. What do the letters AM and FM stand for?
Filing an insurance claim following a storm shouldn't be an ordeal. Southern Oak Insurance's claim team prepares for catastrophic situations well in advance. Log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
In radio lingo, AM stands for amplitude modulation. FM stands for frequency modulation.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
With Lee and Kate's glass, you're gonna see a big difference.
Hey, it's Frank Frangie. Look, when it comes to glass needs around the home, there's one name I trust, Lee and Kate's. It's local, family-owned, and they've been part of our community since 1926. They've taken great care of me over the years, and I know they'll do the same for you. Visit LeeandKatesGlass.com.
With Lee and Kate's Glass, you're gonna see a big difference. Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Yo, Jacksonville, Hickens Hype. Checkmate Coatings crushes it with floors I'd put in my own pad.
I'm Brendan with Checkmate Coatings. We coat it all: garages, pool decks, driveways, and patios. Be the envy of your neighbors.
Rush to checkmatecoatings.com. Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Yo, E.T. here, and I need you to beat the heat this summer with cool escapes and non-stop fun in Clay County. Tackle indoor adventures head on. Throw axes at Live by Axe or smash your stress away at Just Smash That. Then kick back with drinks, good food, and fandom vibes at Nakama Anime Bar or Leaderboard Arcade and Bar. Whether you're blowing off steam or just looking to chill, Clay County got your perfect indoor getaway. Find your cool at exploreclay.com. That's exploreclay.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
On the doorstep of the 9 o'clock hour, coming up in the 9 o'clock hour, my Jaguar training camp one-on-one with Jaguar defensive lineman Tyler Lacey. Also, we will go out to New Orleans. My guy, when it comes to the Saints, Fletcher Mackel. He is the sports director of the NBC affiliate out there in New Orleans, and we'll get the New Orleans Saints perspective on this matchup on Sunday between Jacksonville and New Orleans. More in the NFL in just a moment, but things change from time to time. We're calling an audible here on Hacker After Dark. We already gave one Hacker Fantasy League spot away earlier. We're now going to give another Hacker Fantasy League spot away. If you think you're the best fantasy football player that listens to 1010XL, now's your chance to prove it. Caller 4 at 641-1010. That's 641-1010. And you will get a spot in the HFL 2025. The draft is next Thursday night. Twin Peaks, Atlantic, and Kernan. As I've said, we ask two things from you. Number one, be available on Thursday night, August the 21st. And number two, bring some folks with you. Bring the family, have a boys' night out, whatever you want to do. We just don't want 16 random dudes or gals or whatever, 16 random people sitting in a big restaurant. We want a little festive atmosphere, a little environment. So if you can bring some folks with you and you can be available on Thursday night, August the 21st, be caller 4 right now at 641-1010, and Dylan Denmark will hook you up with one of the 16 coveted spots to this year's Hacker Fantasy League. News around the National Football League. A couple of things have rolled in today. Boy, the Indianapolis Colts have had an interesting training camp, right? They got a quarterback battle. But outside of the quarterback, they got a pretty good roster. Their wide receivers, their running backs, the offense as a whole is pretty good. Defense doesn't look terrible. But one of the main guys on that offense is wide receiver Joshua Downs. He apparently now is nursing a hamstring injury. That is certainly not something that you want to play around with. A hamstring for Joshua Downs. We will see what comes of that, but that happened in practice earlier today. Something certainly to monitor in the AFC South. Also in New York, with the injury to backup quarterback Tyrod Taylor, the Jets are working out a couple of names that we know here locally. Nathan Peterman and C.J. Beathard. We'll see if anything comes of that, but a couple of names, a former Jaguar and a local kid, Nathan Peterman and C.J. Beathard, both working out with the New York Jets, as Tyrod Taylor is going to be out for the next few weeks at least, and the Jets are looking to add another quarterback to that room. How about Brandon Sheriff calling it a career? Brandon Sheriff, who was a 5-time Pro Bowler, came here to Jacksonville and was all right. What was he here for? 3 years? Had some injury problems, was obviously later in his career. I don't think Brandon Sheriff was a bad free agent signing by any stretch of the imagination. I wouldn't call him great or good either. I think he was serviceable. He was an average free agent signing for where he was during that time in his career. But Brandon Sheriff, one of the best interior linemen the NFL has had in the last 10 or 15 years, has announced his retirement. So congratulations to Brandon as he gets to now live it up a little bit in retirement. Speaking of that, rumor is out in Arizona that Calais Campbell, the mayor of Saxonville, is probably also going to hang it up after the 2025 season. A lot of rumblings out there. Some of the things that Campbell has said as well appear that it is going to be his final year in the NFL. In fact, Campbell was quoted earlier this week on the Cardinals' official website saying he would be, quote, surprised if it wasn't his final year in the National Football League. What is Calais now? 38, I believe, has had a terrific career, and it appears that 2025 will be it for Calais Campbell. More on the National Football League coming up in the 9 o'clock hour, including another Jaguar training camp one-on-one. I had the opportunity to catch up with defensive lineman Tyler Lacey yesterday at the Miller Electric Center. We'll let you hear that conversation coming up. It's Hacker After Dark on a Thursday night here in Northeast Florida, and we're glad you're with us right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Here's another look behind the microphone at 1010XL with Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
You can't just walk in off the street and do what we do. It takes years and years of training. I mean, let's just let them perform a tracheotomy while we're at it.
Mornings on 1010XL.
This is ridiculous.
Let's get the work done.
Training camp is here.
Up, quick feet, quick feet, quick feet.
1010XL's training camp coverage is backed by Roland Reach Plumbing and Green Acres Sporting Goods.
Go, here we go. Let's go. It's live now. Let's go.
As a law enforcement officer, safe roads are one of my top priorities, ensuring everyone can get home safely each day. Some never will, due to aggressive driving, being distracted, or speeding on the roads. And too often, that results in the toughest part of my job and the longest walk in my life. I'm so sorry. I have some very sad news to share with you.
9 people will be killed on our Florida roadways today. Don't let it be you or a person you love. Buckle up every trip, every time. Let's get everyone home safely. A message from Florida Department of Transportation, Target Zero. For more information, visit targetzerofl.com.
He thinks he knows what he's talking about.
Of course.
Find out if he does.
Is there anything else we need to know?
Catch CBS Sports senior NFL writer Pete Prisco every Friday afternoon on The Franchi Show. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Looking for your new favorite hangout this football season? Try Voodoo Brewing Company in the heart of San Marco. Locally owned and community focused, Voodoo Brewing serves up award-winning beers, scratch-made upscale pub fare, and laid-back vibes where everyone's welcome. For live music, trivia nights, and all the football action this season, make Voodoo Brewing Company Jacksonville your new favorite spot on San Marco Square.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach. Here's your 1010XL community calendar of local events and nonprofit groups helping people here at home.
Tee off for a cause. Join Junior Achievement of North Florida for the Golf Classic September 29th at San Jose Country Club. Help support financial literacy for local students. Find out how at janfl.org.
Find out how you can be part of the cure for blood cancer at the Light the Night Walk at 5-Star Ballpark November 22nd. Take the first step at lightthenight.org.
Military veterans have always protected us. And in Jacksonville, thousands of our veterans suffer from mental wounds like PTSD. Now it's time to return the favor. Learn how you can help at woundedwarriorproject.org.
The Creeks Athletic Association in St. Johns County offers a variety of sports for children 5 to 18. Learn how to get your child involved at caaleague.org.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com.
For over 55 years, Green Acres Sporting Goods has proudly served Jacksonville from the corner of Normandy and Hammond Boulevard. From archery to hunting and fishing, they've got the gear, service, and know-how to get you outdoor ready. Stop by their full-service archery pro shop and check out their wide selection of firearms. And while you're there, sign up for their weekly concealed weapon classes. You can find it all at greenacressporting.com.
Hello, Jacksonville. This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. At Orthopedic Specialists of Jacksonville, we know not every injury happens on Sundays. Sometimes it's flag football, weekend yard work, or just playing with your kids. That's why we built a team of fellowship-trained orthopedic surgeons, experts in everything from knees and shoulders to spine and sports injuries. Whether you're chasing championships or chasing your dog, we've got you. Learn more at osjax.com. That's osjax.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Halftime, Hacker After Dark. 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We'll take you up till 10 o'clock as we do every night right here on 1010XL. Big news for the Jaguar defense today. I know I harped a lot on the offense because it was not a good day at the office for the offense with penalties and drops. But big news for the defense, Mason Smith activated off the PUP, did not participate in team drills today, but that probably will happen soon. He now has 3 weeks to get ready for the opener against Carolina. That is terrific news. They need Mason Smith. They need Mason Smith to be who they think Mason Smith is. Again, all the change, all the turnover on this roster, you look at the one position that they didn't touch, it was essentially interior D-line. Eric Armstead, Mason Smith, both of whom have missed a majority, if not all, of camp. Mason Smith now is back. We'll hopefully get Armstead back sooner rather than later. And then Devon Hamilton, Jordan Jefferson, and Tyler Lacey. I've thought those guys were the five for a long time. I still believe they are the five. The DeJuan Smoot thing is interesting. Will he be inside? Will he be outside? Who knows? Maybe he can do a little bit of both, kind of a hybrid. But I think your five main interior guys are Armstead, Smith, Hamilton, Jefferson, and Lacey. I thought it was great to get Mason Smith activated off the PUP and get him back into the fold. Obviously won't see him in any preseason game, and I'm fine with that. As long as he's good to go September 7th when Bryce Young and Carolina roll in here, that is absolutely all I care about. Tyler Lacey, on the other hand, has taken advantage of the opportunities. Without Smith and without Armstead during camp, he's gotten a lot of run. Jordan Jefferson has gotten a lot of run. Two young, hungry guys in the interior of that D-line. Earlier on at the Miller Electric Center, I went one-on-one with Jaguar third-year defensive lineman Tyler Lacey. Here is that conversation on Hacker After Dark.
Now, renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors takes you in the locker room.
Jaguars wrapping up a spirited practice out here at the Miller Electric Center. We got Jaguar defensive lineman Tyler Lacey with us here on 1010XL. Tyler, how'd it go out there today?
It went good. It was a good practice today, especially coming after the game on Saturday. Just coming out here fine-tuning this stuff and just getting ready for Sunday.
Physical practice, training camp practice number 14. Talk about the physicality out there today.
Oh, yeah, the physicality has been up at every practice. So just coming in, strapping up our helmets and getting ready to play every day. So that's the mentality that we have as a defense, and that's what we want to strive to bring to the games.
When you looked at the film from Saturday night against Pittsburgh, what were your biggest takeaways from a defensive perspective? Good things, bad things, what were your thoughts?
Good things, I feel like we stopped the run. I feel like we handled them. I think they had like 60 yards rushing.
Yeah, they only averaged 2.5 yards.
Something like that. And then something we have to work on is probably the tempo, just getting to the ball, getting the call, getting lined up, and just putting our cleats in the ground and playing.
What about you? Third year for you. How would you assess your game now compared to where you were 24 months ago when you arrived?
I feel like it's going up. I mean, I'm still learning as a player. Still trying to get the feel of the game. I feel like I have it, but like just still trying to fine tune my stuff and perfect my craft.
The fact that Mason and Eric are not available right now, obviously that ups the reps for you and Devon and Jordan. How has that gone for you, getting all these reps here in training camp?
I feel like it's good for me. I feel like I need it as a player to get better, and I feel like I can just take away this opportunity and just get better each and every day.
A couple more for Jaguar D lineman Tyler Lacey. What do you think of Anthony Campanile? Seems like quite the character from the outside. What's it like playing for him?
Oh, he's a rowdy guy. I mean, he comes in at, we be here like 7:35. He comes in every morning, same person, same guy. So that's the person we need around us and to lead us as a defense.
A lot of change on this team. New staff, obviously new GM, a lot of new players. For a guy like you that's been here for a couple of years now, what has the roster turnover been like? It's part of the business, but I'm sure it's been interesting.
It has been interesting. I mean, you get close to a guy, you be friends, especially with your locker mate, and then he's gone or stuff changes. It's kind of sad at the same time, but, it's just the way of football is.
I mentioned your third year. You look back to that draft class. Anton, Tank, Brenton, you, Yasir. I mean, you can go on down the line. Parker, Antonio, Vince. I mean, that's quite the class. I mean, what's your thought on all you guys entering year 3? That's kind of the core of this football team right now.
Yeah, I feel like our guy, my class, we just got to step up this year. I feel like this is our year, and the guys are called upon, and we just got to go out there and turn it up.
As we wrap up, what are you looking to accomplish Sunday in New Orleans?
What do I look to accomplish? Getting after them, being physical, and stopping the run.
Tyler Lacey. Tyler, best of luck. We'll be watching.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
There you go, Tyler Lacey of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I mean that about the 2023 draft class. That was that class where they had like 13 draft picks, which was crazy. And like the last 3 or 4 that they took didn't pan out. Unfortunately, Cooper Hodges, the local kid, is probably included in that. But that was for just 2 massive injuries. Hodges had a chance, but the injury bug just couldn't get away from it. But the first 9 draft picks of that draft, Anton Harrison's a starting offensive tackle on this team. Brenton Strange, your starting tight end. Tank Bigsby is going to be 1A at running back to Travis Etienne. Ventrell Miller is outside shot of a starting linebacker spot, clearly on the team. Tyler Lacey, Yasir Abdullah are going to play a lot. They're both locks to make the team, in my opinion. Antonio Johnson's had a great camp. I think he's a lock to make the team. Parker Washington might have had the best camp of anybody to this point. He's a lock to make the team. As we talked about, there's Jaguar good and there's NFL good. That 2023 draft class, I don't know if it's Jaguar good. I don't know how it would rank up to other draft classes around the league. But what I do know is that when you have, what is that? Anton is 1, Brenton Strange is 2, Tank Bigsby's 3, Yasir 4, Lacey 5, Ventrell 6, Parker 7, Antonio 8. 8 guys. You have 8 guys from one draft class that are all contributing on the 53-man roster. It's a good draft. It's a good draft. Any way you slice it, that is a good draft. And again, as I've said, that's a proof. That is the biggest proof you can have that you got to wait 2 or even 3 years in some instances to really assess a draft class. Remember what we were saying, and I'm including myself in this. Remember what we were saying, or at least most of us were saying, about Brenton Strange and Tank Bigsby after their rookie years? And now you look at it, both guys are going to have prominent roles on this football team. Prominent roles. Ventrell Miller, I know non-Gator fans were really upset by that pick. Oh, what are you drafting Ventrell Miller for? And then he had the Achilles his rookie year. It's been very good the last couple of years. You talk about Tyler Lacey, Yasir Abdullah, 2 4th-round picks. Both have made the team their first 2 years. I think both are locks to make the team year 3 and to play and contribute in year 3. And then you got guys like Antonio Johnson and Parker Washington who could be poised to have really big years if given the opportunity. So again, I like the draft class. Those 8 and those 9 guys, those are big-time playmakers, big-time factors on this Jaguar football team here in 2025. The Jaguars do go to New Orleans on Sunday. Boy, the Saints, you talk about teams in the NFL that from a national perspective, if you talk about, all right, who are going to be some of the worst teams in the league, quite frankly, New Orleans is on a lot of those lists, primarily because of the quarterback situation. When Derek Carr retired, and I believe that kind of caught them off guard, I know it caught some New Orleans media off guard. Now everybody's like, well, wait a minute. Tyler Shough, Spencer Rattler, what exactly is going to happen with the Saints quarterback? I mean, they still have Alvin Kamara. They still have Chris Olave. They went out and brought back Brandon Cooks for whatever that's worth. They got some talent. Defensively, they got some guys. Chase Young is there. Brian Barise is there. They have talent there. But it is relative compared to a lot of other teams in the NFL. But that is the Jaguar opponent on Sunday out in the Superdome. What is the Saints' perspective coming into preseason week 2? How has camp gone for them? My guy out in New Orleans is Fletcher Mackel. He's the sports director of the NBC affiliate out on the Bayou, and he joins us next to give us the New Orleans Saints perspective on this ball game on Sunday. Hacker After Dark rolls on till 10 o'clock right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
He used to lay the lumber on the field.
No, I'm not a quarterback, but I like eating quarterbacks for breakfast.
Now he lays his opinions on Jaguars Today. Tom McManus. Fridays on 1010XL. Opened by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors.
Leonard Skinner is coming home, and they're bringing the Stars and Stripes. Celebrate Southern rock and American pride with Leonard Skinner Rocks the Red, White, and Blue. It's a special night to support St. Michael's soldiers and the brave men and women of our armed forces. Saturday, November 8th at Daly's Place. Tickets on sale now, only at Ticketmaster. Daly'sPlace.com for details. Be there when Skinner rocks for those who serve.
As a contractor, finding reliable subcontractors is key to project success. Prosser here. Guys, that's where Lloyd's Heating and Air shines. Not just your mechanical HVAC experts, but your partner, understanding every facet of construction to keep your project on track. Lloyd's will spot issues early before they cause delays. If you're a contractor with a need for reliability, visit LloydsHeatingandAir.com. Lloyd's Heating and Air, keeping you comfortable in every season.
Soft takes are boring. That's why I dropped the hammer on the Frangie Show. I'm Hayes Carlion. Listen for Hammer Time with Hayes, weekday afternoons on 1010XL.
Hammer Time with Hayes, driven by Kia on Atlantic.
Homeowners, storms don't wait, so why should you? Protect your home and your wallet with Universal Roof and Contracting. Save up to 20% on roof replacements and repairs now through August 31st. Financing is available with payments as low as $115. Call 855-ROOF-HELP for your free inspection. Universal Roof and Contracting, protecting your home, building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com.
When storms start to crop up in the Atlantic or Gulf this time of year, having a solid plan to handle anything that sweeps through the First Coast is very important. That's where American Electrical comes in. Ensure your home's safety and comfort with an American Electrical home generator. As the area's leading home generator dealer and installer, American Electrical can offer you easy installation, simple maintenance, and peace of mind. Schedule an assessment by simply calling the team at American Electrical. They'll walk you through the best generator for your home or business. Log on, american-electrical.com.
Come to Monahan Jewelers store-wide 40 to 50% off sale going on now for a very limited time. Everything on display is 40 to 50% off at Monahan Jewelers. We've bought so much brand new jewelry, we need to make room for it. Diamond jewelry, engagement semi-mounts, colored gemstones, even gold chains. Right now, everything on display at Monahan Jewelers is 40 to 50% off. Jewelry's going quick, so come to Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
I used to dread going to the dentist. Every visit felt like a sales pitch with constant upselling, surprise fees on my bill, and I could never get in when I needed to. But Harbor Dental Care? Totally different. They saw me the next day, gave me honest pricing up front, and even set me up with a payment plan I could actually afford. No pressure, no surprise charges, just kind people who get it. If you want to experience dentistry the way it should be, book your appointment today at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line.
Hello.
Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Saints, Sunday at 1 o'clock, preseason week 2. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL radio as the Jaguars make their first road trip of the year, albeit preseason action. Let's talk about the New Orleans Saints, the Jaguars' opponent on Sunday, how camp has gone for them. Is there any more clarity at the quarterback position? Our guy out in New Orleans is Fletcher Mackel. He is the sports director of WDSU Television in New Orleans, and Fletcher's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Fletcher, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, as always. I appreciate it.
Hey, Fletcher, we certainly thank you for the time. All right, you and I spoke during our division previews prior to camp. Let's pick up when training camp began. Your initial thoughts a few weeks in on Kellen Moore's first camp there in New Orleans.
It's laid back. I'm going to tell you that. Practices are like 90 minutes or less. You can tell he's a former player who wants the players to feel comfortable and be fresh and be ready. Look, I've been here I'm born and raised in New Orleans, but I've been at the TV station I work at now for 23 years. So I remember Sean Payton coming in here in 2006, and it was like Gladiator Academy. It was 2-a-days, full pads. The lockout changed a lot of that in 2011, but still Sean Payton is one of these guys who is an old school, believes in practicing, believes in getting after it. And Dennis Allen, the former coach, was from the Sean Payton tree. Kellen Moore is a little different. He's a good dude. He's wholesome. He's nice. He's authentic. But his practices are very quick. Let's get our work in and get out. And these are the fastest practices I have ever seen in my 2+ decades covering the Saints, like 90 minutes or less.
Wow, yeah. A lot of that here in Jacksonville, although like the one we had earlier this week went over 2 hours, so there's certainly ones that are much longer than 90 minutes. Fletcher, again, when you and I spoke this summer, there was a lot of questions, I guess, about the quarterback position. We now have 3 weeks of camp. We have 1 preseason game under our belt. Where is New Orleans with their starting quarterback?
Still up in the air, although I think the consensus is Tyler Shuck is moving towards being the starter. That's my opinion, but I think that is becoming the consensus opinion. Look, they drafted Tyler Shuck, they being Kellen Moore and this coaching staff. Kellen Moore picked this guy at number 40. The Saints have a lot of needs. They haven't been to the playoffs since 2020 when Drew Brees, his final year here. So they could have gone in a lot of different directions. That's a value pick at number 40, and they went quarterback. It's the highest pick the Saints have used on a quarterback since Archie Manning in 1971 when he went in the first round. So they obviously like Tyler Shuck, but they didn't anoint Tyler Shuck. They put him into a full-blown hardcore competition with Spencer Rattler, and those two guys have been rotating equally with the ones. Spencer Rattler certainly looked steadier early in camp because Tyler Shuck is a rookie, and you could see the speed, the timing, the tempo. He was catching up. But last week, Tyler Shuck seemed to take a step forward. And then in the preseason game, for anybody who watched, Tyler Shuck certainly looked like the better quarterback. Now, again, he wasn't great. He threw a pick 6, but he looked better than Spencer Rattler. So I think this week they're back at practice tonight in California, and then they have the preseason game this weekend in New Orleans. If Tyler Shuck continues the trajectory he's on, I think he's going to end up being the week 1 starter. Now, again, if he comes out this weekend against you all and he looks awful, well, then we're probably going to go into the 3rd preseason game with things still up in the air.
Fletcher Mackel, the sports director, WDSU Television in New Orleans. He's our guy when it comes to the Saints, the Jaguars, and the Saints. Sunday at 1 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. Fletcher, in the interest of transparency, I may or may not have drafted Chris Olave in a fantasy draft last weekend. So let me ask you, how has Chris Olave looked so far in camp?
He has looked amazing. And here's the thing about Chris Olave. He is amazing. when he's healthy. Look, he was a first-round draft pick. He was a super productive player at The Ohio State University. Everything is there for him to be the alpha wide receiver, one of the 10 best receivers in the league. But inconsistencies with the Saints offense at the quarterback position has not helped him. And then the fact that he has dealt with 3 serious concussions since he came into the league and injury issues has set him back. So again, from a physical perspective, he is everything you want. He is everything you look for. He can do it all, but he's got to stay on the field and he's got to stay healthy. And so again, I don't know what we're going to get from Chris Olave this year, especially with, even if it's Spencer Rattler that wins the job, he's still a young quarterback, a 5th-round draft pick. He's not exactly going to be Tom Brady in year 2, and Tyler Shuck is a rookie. So again, I like your pick, but the health concerns and who's playing quarterback for the Saints are concerning to me.
Alvin Kamara, certainly still a very good running back, maybe not what he was a couple of years ago. What is the thought on Kamara entering the season?
The thought is that maybe Kellen Moore just pulls a Saquon. Look, last year Kellen Moore was the offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. Saquon Barkley had a historic season. I think he touched the ball 350 times or something like that. I'm not quite sure that Alvin Kamara can hold up with 350 touches, but I would expect, if you're a fantasy owner and your league hasn't drafted yet, draft Alvin Kamara, because the Saints offense is going to be leaning into him. With whichever young quarterback starts, they are going to be Alvin Kamara centric. And look, the last time Alvin Kamara was the quote unquote workhorse and was pushed to the brink was 2021, when the Saints played 5 different quarterbacks because of injury. Sean Payton's last year. And look, they got to 9-8, but Kamara broke down because of the workload. I think that you're going to see something similar. They're going to push him without trying to break him because he is the one star that they can count on offense.
Fletcher, as we begin to wrap up, we spent our entire conversation on offense. Let's get to the defensive side of the ball. I like some of the pieces New Orleans has, no question. We saw the Honey Badger retired since the last time you and I talked. What is the thought on the Saints defense as the season approaches?
Cautiously optimistic. I mean, look, Brandon Staley is in as the defensive coordinator. They've changed under Sean Payton and Dennis Allen. They were a traditional 4-3 base. They're now a 3-4 with a lot of exotic looks with Brandon Staley. Standing up Carl Granderson and Chase Young. It's looked good in practice, but the games aren't played on the practice field. So we'll see how it fleshes out. Kool-Aid McKinstry from Alabama was a high 2nd-round draft pick last year. He looks like he's ready for a big step forward this year. He's been one of the real stars of training camp at cornerback for this team. So again, some pieces like you just alluded to that look good on paper and in practice. Let's see if they can translate it into the game.
Knock on wood for the Jaguars, Fletcher. They've had some injuries, but nothing of the season-long or months-long variety. How is New Orleans looking health-wise heading in here to preseason week number 2?
Relatively solid. Again, the Saints practice tonight. They got out of New Orleans. They're doing a 2-week stint in Irvine, California. They practice tonight at 6 p.m. Central Time, 4 p.m. West Coast Time. Trevor Penning, their starting offensive guard, went out, carted off the field in the first preseason game. That's the only significant injury right now, and we'll get an update on that. But they've been really healthy, and maybe it's because of the lighter practices and Kellen Moore being conscious of the heat, the humidity, and the rigors of training camp. But they have been very, very healthy up until the preseason game where they dealt with one injury to one starter.
Fletcher, final question. Obviously still relatively early in the week, but what is your thought on Sunday? How much will we see the Saints starters? How much will we see the 2 quarterbacks in that competition?
Yeah, again, this is a much different preseason for people here in New Orleans. For 15 years, we had Drew Brees. Towards the end of his career, he didn't even play in the preseason because he and Sean Payton invented the offense, and they knew it like the back of their hand. this is the Super Bowl for a lot of these guys. This is Spencer Rattler's best chance to ever be a starter in the NFL. He's playing in the Super Bowl Sunday against the Jaguars for all practical purposes. Tyler Shuck is trying to win the job as a rookie. This is very meaningful for him. Behind Alvin Kamara, we've got 5 running backs: Kendre Miller, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Cam Akers. Some of these guys aren't going to make the team. They are playing for their professional lives. So last week and again this week, I think you're going to see, and you better see, a hungry, aggressive Saints team out there, because the preseason matters now more than ever for a lot of guys on this roster.
Fletcher, leave us with this. They're in New Orleans. So what's the thought on LSU as fall camp for them? I mean, they got Clemson in 2.5 weeks.
It better be this year for Brian Kelly. Year 4, high expectations every year since he arrived. They produced a Heisman Trophy winner in Jaden Daniels and squandered a historically great offensive season because they couldn't get the defense together. He's got Garrett Nussmeier, another Heisman hopeful, an embarrassment of talent at skill positions, a defensive coordinator that everybody believes in and likes. If not now, making the playoffs, then when for Brian Kelly? I'm not saying they got to win the Natty this year, but they better be one of those 12 teams in the playoff this year, because if not now, then when?
Fletcher Mackel, the sports director, WDSU TV. That's the NBC affiliate out there on the Bayou. He's our guy when it comes to the New Orleans Saints and the LSU Bengal Tigers. Fletcher, I know you're busy. Thank you for the time. We'll talk again soon, pal.
All right, thank you.
Summer's winding down, and we know you want to enjoy what's left of it. But before you celebrate this Labor Day weekend, plan ahead and know all your options. If you drink, don't get behind the wheel. Instead, designate a sober driver or catch a ride service. And if you are the designated sober driver, commit to staying sober. Celebrate responsibly and remember to drive sober or get pulled over. This message brought to you by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Hey, so why don't we tee off? Tee it high and let it fly.
He's got a beautiful backswing.
Oh, he got all of that one. Tour news, local updates, and the latest gear. Cut a few strokes off your game Saturday mornings at 10 with the Edwin Watts Golf Hour on 1010XL.
Your grandfather was stronger at 50 than you are at 40. Want to know why? His testosterone was 30% higher than yours. That's not genetics. That's modern life killing your hormones. Stress, chemicals, sitting, it's all crushing your T levels. Male Excel reverses it. Prescription testosterone, thyroid optimization, personalized to you. Over 100,000 men are already winning again. Your turn. Try MaleExcel.com. Free assessment, because you deserve it. Your family deserves it.
Oh, no.
Ah, that's the sound of someone who's misplaced
my debit card.
Their debit card.
Where'd I leave that thing?
Not at the gas pump, or the checkout counter, or the roof of your car. Now, if he has the Chase mobile app, he can use Card Lock.
Wait, I could just lock my card.
Yep, just a few tippy taps on his phone, and that sound? That's peace of mind from Chase.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. J.P. Morgan Chase Bank N.A. Member FDIC.
Hayes Carline here. If you're shopping for a new ride, you've got to check out Atlantic Infinity. Not only do you get a luxury vehicle, you also get the Atlantic Infinity Promise Free with every new car. That's almost $2,500 in added value just for buying smarter, and you don't have to sweat it out on the lot. Shop in their indoor climate-controlled showrooms. It's cool, comfortable, hassle-free. They're on Atlantic near St. John's Bluff, or browse anytime at AtlanticInfinity.com.
Mike Dempsey for Apex Roofing and Contracting of Jacksonville Beach. If your roof's got any damage, if it leaks, if it's just old and ugly, call my friends at Apex Roofing. But Mike, roofs are so expensive. It's true, quality roofing is not cheap, but Apex Roofing has up to 100% financing available, so you don't have to compromise quality for budget. Apex Roofing, no shortcuts, no stress, just quality work with financing available. Reach for the peak with Apex Roofing and Contracting in Jacksonville Beach. ApexRoofingFL.com.
Lucas Tree Service is a certified arborist and a local family-owned business with over 45 years of experience. They specialize in tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for both residential and commercial properties. Get prepared for storm season and receive top-notch customer service from Lucas Tree Service, 904-241-3533. Online at lucastreeservice.com.
Frank Frangie here for Coyle & Son Fencing. Jacksonville is full of memorable sports memories. Remember the 2017 AFC Championship game when Miles Jack wasn't down? Do you know what else isn't down? Fences installed by Coyle & Sons. Their fences have been standing tall here in Jacksonville for nearly a century. If you're in the market for a new fence, I recommend calling Coyle & Sons today at 904-356-4821 or visit CoyleJacks.com. That's C-O-Y-L-E Jacks.com. CoyleJacks.com.
Transmission troubles? I'm Robin Sidbury, owner of Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road. So come in and see how we can help solve your transmission troubles. We service all makes and models. Remember, get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Back here on Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM. We'll shift gears, talk a little college football in a moment. It is interesting with the NFL. You know, you get so caught up in training camp and the preseason games that all of a sudden, like we were talking today, cut down day in the NFL is 12 days away. 12 days from right now. The Jaguars and every other team have to go from 90 to 53. When the Jaguars line up a week from Saturday against Miami, they come back that Sunday, odds are cuts will start rolling in 10 days. Gets here quick, man. There's absolutely no doubt about that. More on the Jaguars coming up in just a bit. Speaking of the world of college football, we've already made stops this week in Gainesville, in Tallahassee, and in Miami. I also wanted to make a stop in Athens, and we will. Coming up here in less than 10 minutes, Ben Wolk of 24/7 Dogs247.com as we check in on Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs. I found it amusing that Georgia, for their standards, is probably under the radar, and I do agree with that. Coming into 2025, a lot of people seem to be talking about Texas and Clemson and, LSU a little bit, Alabama, obviously. And their Georgia is just kind of doing their thing, but they're still ranked number 5 in the AP preseason poll. That's under the radar for the Dogs, being ranked 5th in the AP preseason poll. By the way, it's interesting locally, 5, 10, 15, right? Georgia came in at number 5 in that poll. Miami came in at number 10 in that poll, and Florida came in at number 15 in that poll. Florida State, honorable mention, I guess. They were in the others receiving votes category. But as far as Georgia goes, and we'll talk with Ben Wolk of Dogs247 coming up here in less than 10 minutes, comes down to Gunnar Stockton, right? Is Gunnar Stockton the guy that they believe he is, replacing Carson Beck? We saw a little bit of Gunnar Stockton in the SEC championship game. We saw a little bit of him in the playoff. We're going to see a lot of him coming up here beginning in 2 weeks. And as is the case with most teams in our area, we'll know pretty quick about Georgia because they have Tennessee and they have Alabama in the first 4 weeks of the year. So we're going to know a lot about the Dogs in the first month with game against Volunteers and against the Alabama Crimson Tide. But let's talk Kirby Smart. Let's talk Gunnar Stockton, and let's talk about the 2025 Georgia Bulldogs. Sick 'em. Dogs247, Ben Wolk joins me next, talking the red and black up in Athens right here on Hacker After Dark.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
This is Mark Nato. My son Justin injured his hand playing baseball for JU. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist performed surgery just a few days later, and within 5 weeks, he was cleared to play in the ASUN baseball tournament. Our family has trusted Southeast Orthopedic Specialists for years. For any orthopedic injury, let Southeast Orthopedic Specialists take care of you too.
Relieve pain and get back
orthopedic specialists.
Baloo here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship-trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Here you can see.
The Coke Zero Sugar 400 returns as the NASCAR Cup Series regular season finale. Answer this question for a chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to the Coke Zero Sugar 400 August 23rd. Who won last year's Coke Zero Sugar 400? Text the driver's last name only to 641-1010. Who won last year's Coke Zero Sugar 400? Text the driver's last name only to 641-1010 for your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to the Coke Zero Sugar 400.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
The best value for golf in Jacksonville remains Cimarron. Totally reestablished with new tee boxes, improved fairways and greens. Also a brand new restaurant with indoor and outdoor settings and live music. Join the Wild One loyalty program online at Cimarron Golf. When's the last time you played Cimarron? Cimarron Golf Club on 210, the Wild One.
Jacksonville DDH. Dreamfinders Danny Hicken here with the scoop from Dreamfinders Homes, your national builder of the year. We've got first-year interest rates as low as 2.99% and homes in 20-plus communities throughout Northeast Florida. If you're house hunting, make sure your first pick Dreamfinders Homes, the proud official home builder of the PGA Tour, the Florida Gators, and your Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit dfhsalesevent.com today and tell them Dreamfinders Danny sent you.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and Triumph has branched off from on-road to off-road. Give us the latest on what they've got.
They've got the 250 and the 450. Rick Carmichael designed these bikes himself, and they are bad to the bone.
So you're talking about a really cool effect from a bike off-road that Triumph had on-road forever.
It is, and it's out there winning races, and it is fun to ride.
Check it out, Cycles of Jacksonville, their showroom on Atlantic near Regency, or online on their Facebook page.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 87.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. You look on that sports calendar and we're all of a sudden now 2.5 weeks away from the start of college football. Camps are almost 3 weeks in already. They're getting a lot of work done getting ready for the start of the season in the world of college football, and that includes up in Athens, Georgia, with Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs. Let's check in on how things are going with Gunnar Stockton, Kirby Smart, and the Dogs. One of our guys in Athens is Ben Wolk of Dogs 247, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Ben, how you doing?
Great to be back. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Ben, always appreciate the time. All right, camp so far for the Dogs. How would you assess it from a mile-high view? Things you've liked, things you're concerned about?
Well, I think, it was until the scrimmage that happened last weekend, I didn't want to jump to any significant conclusions one way or the other on the offensive side or the defensive side. I think that the picture has become a little bit more clear now after that first big scrimmage. I guess my main takeaways, if I were to just jump into those, would be on the offensive side, I think you're going to see a significant overhaul at wide receiver. I think that there was a lot of conversation last year about Georgia's drop rate and just not having consistent wide receiver play all season long. I don't think that you're going to see that this year. I think that the transfers that they've brought in, Noah Thomas, Zachariah Branch, Colby Young coming back, some of those freshmen, Talon Taylor, CJ Wiley, Thomas Blackshear, Tyler Williams, some of the guys that have been forgotten a little bit, and Sokovie White. I think that there's a chance that this wide receiving core is one of the best that Georgia's had in quite some time. So bright spots, that's where I would lean on the offensive side. Maybe some things I have some concern about on the offensive side is just playmaking at running back. I mean, I think it's not a newsflash to anyone to say that the running back position at Georgia isn't what it was 5 years ago. If they're not stacking 5-star running back classes year after year after year the way that they once were. And so I think that because of that, you're sacrificing some playmaking at that position. I think it's some natural decision-making that's gone on in the revenue share NIL era where you have to be more strategic with how you're devoting those funds. And I think that running back, as we've seen at the NFL level, you're always going to catch some sacrifices at that position. But I think a lot is riding on, Nate Frazier stepping up into that 1A type of back. I think that a lot is relying on Roderick Robinson, who's been injured his whole career, being better and more available than he has been. Georgia went into the portal and got Josh McCray out of Illinois. He really missed the first week of fall camp because of what, they're describing as an illness. And so he hasn't even been fully acclimated and wasn't fully dressed out for the scrimmage. And so I think there's just a lot relying on some unknowns at the running back position for Georgia this season.
Ben Wolk of Dogs 247 with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Ben, obviously the big question is Gunnar Stockton, who takes over, obviously, for Carson Beck. What's been your thought on Stockton to this point?
Well, I'll be the first to admit, when it comes to local media and how I've probably portrayed the quarterback change and situation over the last 8 to 10 months, I'm in a little bit of a different camp from many others. I felt that Carson Beck earned more respect from people for what he did over 2 years, being at Georgia for 5 years, waiting 3 seasons before he really got his chance, and, being a very winning quarterback, successful quarterback, not without some warts during last season, but I just have been cautioning folks to say, hey, if you think you're just going to upgrade at quarterback after Carson Beck had some interception struggles last year, I think you've got a rude awakening. And I don't think that that's a knock on Gunnar Stockton or even commentary whatsoever on Gunnar Stockton as much as it is, I don't think what Carson Beck was able to do while he was in Athens was appreciated within Athens or outside of Athens to the extent that it probably should have been. And so there are going to be some natural talent step backs with any quarterback when it comes to just true skeleton layering passing that Carson Beck's able to do that other quarterbacks in college football just frankly aren't. And I think that it's fair to say that Gunnar Stockton is part of that group of people that are not going to layer the football in, just skeleton passing situations the way that Carson Beck is able to and was able to at Georgia. Now, what Georgia is going to be able to do is lean on some strengths that Gunnar had that I don't necessarily think that Carson Beck had. And so, what are those things? I think it's accuracy with the deep ball. I've already talked about the wide receivers. I think Georgia went and collected a lot of guys that have a track record of one-on-one expertise down the field. And I think that you're going to see Georgia do a lot of play action. They might do some RPO stuff to try and get him involved in the running game as well. But I think where Georgia is going to look different offensively this year with Gunnar Stockton as opposed to previous years is dishing the ball down the field at a higher rate. I think trying to create explosive, bigger pop plays. I think that Georgia has become known more for offensive efficiency. They're not ever one of the highest in explosive plays. I think that's going to change this year. I think that what Gunnar Stockton's going to present just as a threat in the running game, but really what he's going to be able to do with his arm down the field, pushing it to those wide receivers who I think are going to be really strong in that area. I think that's where you're going to see Georgia's offense look different this year compared to what we've grown accustomed to with Georgia offenses.
Ben, as we begin to wrap up, we've spent the entirety of this on the offense. Obviously, let's flip to the defense now. Whenever Kirby Smart's there, as long as he will be there, you would expect Georgia's defense to certainly be one of the strengths. What is your thought on the defense through fall camp to this point?
Well, it's interesting because I think so much, like you said, so much focus gets placed on the offense. So much conversation is around Mike Bobo and Stacey Searles is the offensive line coach, and whether they are the guys that can be in those roles to get it done for Georgia the way that they need to offensively. And the truth of the matter is, one of the big reasons why Georgia, even though they won an SEC championship, took a step back last season year over year is because the defense just wasn't as reliable as it has been in the past. And I think you heard a common message from Georgia coaches this spring on the offensive side, but also on the defensive side. You've got to be able to run the ball and stop the run to be able to win national championships. It's what Georgia did so well in 21 and 22. And especially defensively, stopping the run, being at top of the top in college football, just in terms of really every defensive metric. And last year, Georgia wasn't great against the run. Georgia ran into a couple of situations where there were mobile quarterbacks. Take the Georgia Tech game, for instance, on Black Friday, where Haynes King kind of did whatever he wanted to this Georgia defense. Take the Alabama game. They kind of do something different offensively, and Jalen Milrose in quarterback empty for the first 2.5 quarters of the game, and it takes Georgia so long to adapt because he's just punishing them with his legs. And so I think Georgia acknowledges it maybe more than the outside world does, that they've got some growing up and figuring out to do on the defensive front when it comes to stopping the run, because that just straight up did not happen last season. I think that they've got the pieces on the defensive line. They're young, inexperienced. We haven't seen a lot of it because of injuries across the line there. I think this defensive line is very talented and has the ability to have that, 3, 4, 5 guys with NFL upside. The linebackers are going deep. CJ Allen, Raylan Wilson, Chris Cole, Justin Williams. I mean, Georgia goes 4 deep with really talented guys, all 4 of whom, by the way, ranked as 5-star linebackers with some service. The question in the secondary is not going to be a corner. Georgia feels comfortable there, whichever ones end up winning that battle. I think that it really comes down to who plays safety opposite of KJ Bolden, and does Janelle Aguero, former 5-star, who's going to play star nickel for Georgia, is he reliable enough in coverage for Georgia to be able to get off the field on 3rd down? I think if that defensive line stays healthy and Janelle Aguero is able to do that, I think Georgia's defense is going to be a step above where it was in 2024.
Ben Wolk of Dogs 247. Ben, final question. We got about 90 seconds. Yesterday, or earlier this week rather, the Associated Press poll came out and Georgia was listed preseason number 5. Is that about right in your opinion? Too high, too low, or just about correct?
I think it's right because I think it's fair in that it depends what side you feel, how you feel about Georgia. Some people feel Georgia's been slipping over the last couple of years and that maybe Georgia's taking a step back. You can't rely on them to be that, number 1, number 2 to start the year. I think other folks think that Georgia has a chance to surprise a lot of people this season. And so they maybe think, man, Georgia is 5th. Like Kirby's going to be able to lean into that. And so I think because of that, there's so much unknown. 5 feels right to me. I don't have an AP vote, but if I did, I would have put Georgia somewhere in the 4 to 6 range. So 5 feels right to me.
Ben, tell the Georgia fans here in Jacksonville about Dogs 247 and the coverage you guys will have in the coming weeks.
Yes, no better time than now to join us over at Dogs 24/7. I got myself, Kip Adams, and Jordan Hill. We will have you covered all through fall camp, all the way into the football season, and it should be a fun year in Athens, Georgia.
Ben, appreciate the time. I know you're busy. Thank you, and we'll talk again soon, pal.
Awesome. Appreciate you.
And thank you to Ben Wolk of Dogs 247 for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark as we checked in on Georgia's fall camp. The Dogs 2.5 weeks away from getting there. 2025 regular season started with this week. We made stops in Gainesville, in Tallahassee, in Miami, and in Athens. Again, we're so in the midst of the Jaguars and training camp and obviously everything going on there. Wanted to spend a little bit of time this week on the world of college football. I mean, do you realize there are a handful of games a week from Saturday including the game over in Dublin, Iowa. I think it's, Kansas State and Iowa State, I believe, a Big 12 matchup. But Kansas plays next week. I know UNLV, Dan Mullen's debut is next Saturday, August 23rd. Hawaii and Stanford next Saturday, August 23rd. So we are 9 days away from the start of college football, and we are 16 days away from Florida, Florida State, Georgia, and Miami that Labor Day weekend from kicking off their 2025 regular season campaign. So we spent a lot of time on that, but obviously a ton of time on the Jaguars. They had a scrimmage this morning down at the Miller Electric Center. There was some good. There was some not so good. Look, the penalties and drops are becoming problematic. They are an issue now. They are no longer things they need to clean up. They are becoming too regular for that. It is becoming an issue. I'm going to say that I'm probably more concerned now than I have been so far in camp about the penalties and the drops in particular. Is it things that can get corrected? Yeah, but we keep hearing that. And then every practice or during the Pittsburgh game, it keeps happening. At some point, if it's easy to correct, you will correct them. But that has not happened yet. So that was a little disconcerting. But again, I mean, there were some positive things on the offense, positive things on the defense. It was a physical practice, certainly, as the Jaguars get ready for preseason week number 2 this Sunday in New Orleans. Well, that will just about do it, man. Very busy Thursday night edition of Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We have a ton of people to thank. Again, Ben Walk of 24/7 Sports, Dogs 247, checking in with the Georgia Bulldogs and their fall camp. Thank you to Fletcher Mackel, my guy out in New Orleans. He is the sports director for the NBC TV affiliate in the New Orleans area, as we got the Saints' perspective on this preseason game coming up on Sunday between Jacksonville and New Orleans. Thank you to my buddy Travis Holmes, host of the Duval Dive podcast. You also read his work there at Big Cat Country, for stopping by. And our Jaguar training camps one-on-one with offensive lineman Ezra Cleveland and with defensive lineman Tyler Lacey. And as always, thank you to the Jaguar PR staff for helping us out with those one-on-one conversations right here on Hacker After Dark. Now, I'm out tomorrow. Going to enjoy one more little getaway before Friday Night Lights kicks off. We start year 19 of the Friday Night Lights postgame a week from tomorrow. I am out tomorrow on a little family vacation, but I will be right back here with you on Monday to kick off college football regular season week 0 and to also kick off Jaguar cut down week, because the Jaguars will be making cuts in the next 7 to 10 days. There will be a lot to discuss this time on Monday here on Hacker After Dark. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the Hacker Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Thursday evening with us right here on Hacker After